There, um, there is an international politician who I follow, and I was just thinking about him today. I was thinking how I would like to talk to him. I'd like him to hear some ideas. I think he'd be very impressed with my ideas, and I feel that we could have a good conversation. And I'm not going to mention the name of this politician because of he's international. You either like him or you hate him, and sometimes I think he has more haters than likers. And I just eventually you're going to find out about me and my political views, but I try not to bring it out in every conversation. First of all, I don't have the wit to argue with people who have other views. I don't have the articulation to keep going to refuting all their ideas. I might think of it later. I'm not that good. That's why I don't do too well in stand-up comedy. I'm not too good at shining in the moment. I'm not always the guy who wins the argument or the fight. So that's one reason why. And second of all, I just I don't want to put the energy into that. I'm using this as an example that when you think of somebody who's well known, such as a politician or a celebrity, an actor, a sports professional sports star, a musician, a social media influencer, a top celebrity chef. You get where I'm talking about. More people know who this person is than this person knows who the public is. This person does not know who yes, they know some of their followers because they have meet and greets and people coming up to them, and they do let some people into their circle, and they do go to some events, like I said, where you can meet some of your fans. But chances are you know them more than they know you, and you don't really know them. You just know what you researched about, but they don't even know about your existence. And I think about sometimes, and it kind of bothers me because there are people like like you, me, and me, we both who we like, actors, politicians. We look up to them. We agree with whatever. We think they're cool, and we want them to know that we're cool too. We think that they would like us as well, but it's such a freaking struggle to get them to know it. Yes, and I don't mean standing on their lawn all hours of the night, ringing their doorbell, climbing. I don't mean that. If you really want to be noticed by them, you eventually can constructively if you continually comment and kiss their ass on their social media feeds, and whenever they're having a book signing, showing up and shaking their hand and asking to pose for. Yeah, you get they won't forget you. They won't remember you. They'll forget your name. You'll remember them more than they'll remember you. And what's my point? My point is sometimes you feel like their voice is heard, but your voice. That's my point. We feel like our voice is not heard. That we feel that I can relate to this politician with my ideas. My voice is not heard, but his voice is heard. But other voice, he'll talk to other people because they're on all the news stations or they're this or that. So their voices are heard. So I'm thinking, what does it matter what I say? Because my voice is not heard. That's my point. But the truth is your voice is heard. Even though, and maybe you might be heard in different ways. It's not heard the same way that their voice is heard. By the way, their voice is heard because they wanted their voice to be heard that way. They didn't get in that circle by accident. They didn't just stumble in and trip and fall into celebrityhood. No, this is what they wanted their whole life. Most of them, they got egos. They want to be noticed. They want to be put up on this pedestal. And even when we go out of their way to get them to notice us and hoping to have it die, we're still putting them on a pedestal. So I guess the point is that's what they wanted. And sometimes we feel that their voice is heard because every time they say something, it's all over the news. Everywhere they go, it's all over the news. And if we don't tell somebody what we know and gives a shit, if we come up with some bright idea or write some beautiful song, no one gives a shit. That's what we feel like our voices is not heard, but your voice is heard. And you're stronger than these celebrities because these celebrities, they need an echo chamber. They need to hear the audience, the fans, and they need these huge ass venues with their name all over lights and have it. And you don't need that. If you're able to get up and do something with no followers, no likes, no fake laughing machines, No wingman, wingman. You get up and you do it knowing that nobody's watching you. Your voice is heard because inside you, the voice hears you. And inside of your imagination is creating scenarios. And it's all karma in the universe, too. You put yourself out, and the universe hears you at some point. It's just not the way, and it makes you a stronger person because you can feel that inside of you. These people are so empty inside. They don't have that feeling. They need to have millions of fans yelling their name. So don't think that their voice is heard and your voice is not heard. It's just a different kind of voice. It's a different kind of frequency. And I'm not criticizing them. That's the life they choose. I'm just saying they're not better than me, and I'm not less a complete of a person just because I didn't get their autograph. Just because I didn't achieve the objection of waiting on a sidewalk next to a red velvet rope for 3 hours just for a 2-minute conversation, probably more time than you probably spend with your doctor anyway. Doctor is another story. You want to get into doctors? Let's do a whole other episode about MDs. But I don't want to get into that. I want to talk about, you know, famous people, celebrities. You know, your voice is heard. That's all I got to say. I'll be back.